Live look from our Fred Haas Toyota. Winds are coming in from the south. That's increasing our humidity, and across the board, most of us already in the lower 80s. Factor in that high humidity, and we actually feel a few degrees warmer. Right now here in Houston, feels like 84 degrees. You can see those winds steadily coming on shore from the coast right now, sustained about 10 miles per hour, gusting 15 to 20. And as we head through the afternoon, just an isolated chance of a brief shower. Most of us going to be totally dry, but we have seen a few sprinkles out in Liberty County. You can see temperatures climbing through the mid 80s today, 86 degrees at the heat of the day. And as we look ahead to the weekend, we're checking the possibility of our first 90-degree day. Andy, coming up, we'll talk about what that means and how early we usually see our 90s.
Caroline, thank you.
It certainly is starting to feel a lot more like summer. A live look in Galveston where you can see those bright blue skies, actual air temperature sitting in them. Jogging forecast this afternoon, even though we're not hitting 90, it's still going to feel like it when you factor in the humidity. Temperatures climbing into the mid 80s, 86 by 3. Isolated shower possible, most of us staying totally dry. Now, as we look ahead to the weekend, you can see Friday actually be feeling closer to the mid 90s. That means we're going to start to talk about heat index values and our heat risk, because by Sunday, we're already going to be seeing a moderate heat risk across southeast Texas. This means you'll want to start to use precautions. Drink plenty of water, wear loose-fitting, lightweight, light-colored clothing, and listen to your body. Take breaks in the shade. High temperatures as we head into next week as well. The 90s come back, and they're looking like they're going to be here to stay. We're going to be staying in the 90s for most of next week. So is this normal? And actually, it really is close to normal. Our average first 90-degree day comes on May 6th. It can come as early as February, but this is actually coming slightly before we expect to see our first 90. However, when you look over the last several years, over the last 30 years, it would be closer to right now in late April. Here's the kicker, though. When it comes to 90-degree days, once we start to hit it, we usually continue to hit it. In fact, last year, we saw the most 90-degree days in a single year. There was 145 days here in Houston where we were at or above 90 degrees. That is about 5 months of heat. So if you're not a big fan of the heat and you're wondering, well, when does it end? Typically not until mid-October. So get used to wearing the sunscreen, shade, air conditioning. Climbing. A live look outside. You can see from our Loyalty Plumbing camera a mix of sunshine and cloud cover. Actual air temperature sitting in the lower 80s. We've got winds coming in from the south-southeast. That's helping increase our humidity. You'll notice already jumping up to 87 here in Houston. This is flirting with becoming the hottest day we've seen so far this year. If we're already at 87, we are easily going to be hitting 90 this upcoming weekend. We'll talk more about that in just a few moments, but wind speeds coming in from the coast sustained about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Some spots seeing gusts up to 25 miles per hour. So your biking forecast this afternoon, maybe you're getting prepared. A few final bike rides before the MS 150 this weekend. Warm and humid, partly cloudy conditions with temperatures dropping through the 80s. Now, as we go through the next 3 days, we're going to see temperatures quickly heat up. Tomorrow, once again, we're going to be hitting the mid to upper 80s. As we head Saturday and Sunday, this is when we're flirting with the 90s. But Andy, I've got much more on that weekend forecast coming up. 80s, 86 degrees for our friends out in Katy. As we head through the rest of the afternoon, you are going to see temperatures continue to stay in the 80s. Now, there is an isolated chance of a brief sprinkle here or there, but for most of us, it is just all about that heat and humidity. In fact, as we look ahead to the weekend, in over 6 months. Okay, let's start with Friday, though, because we are tracking a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Most of us totally dry, but a disturbance to our west could start to impact our far western and northern areas. For all of us, though, to start off our Friday, not expecting any problems. You can see as we head into the afternoon, some of those storms will try to clip our far western counties after 2 p.m. And then into the evening time, it's possible our far northern areas. We're talking Huntsville up through Madisonville, Conroe. That's where you could see a brief thunderstorm really from 5 p.m. through 8 p.m. Now, the benefit of these thunderstorms is that we're not expecting them to stall. If you see them, they're going to quickly push on through. And the rest of us, we're expecting to stay mostly dry, but also very hot. You'll notice forecast high temperatures as we go through the upcoming week, upper 80s into the lower 90s. Once we hit 90, we have a tendency to kind of stay there. In fact, this being our first 90-degree day is actually considered slightly sooner than we expect to see it. Our average first 90-degree day comes on May 6th. That's with all of Houston's records. But if you just look at the last 30 years, it's actually closer to late April, which means we are right on track. The problem, though, is that does mean we're going to see an elevated heat risk on Sunday. It's going to be moderate throughout southeast Texas. And as we head into next week with that high humidity in 90s, it'll feel closer to 100 degrees. Sunscreen, water bottles, bug spray, allergy medicine, our allergy report still showing everything in. It is warm, it is humid, temperatures really starting to climb to levels we have not seen all year. A live look outside, a mix of sunshine and cloud cover here in Houston, now sitting in the mid 80s, but we topped out today in the upper 80s. 84 in Katy, 83 for our friends out in Washington County. One of the reasons why we're heating up so efficiently is because of those winds. They're coming in from the coast right now, sustained 10 to 15 miles per hour, but we're seeing gusts up to 25. That's increasing our humidity, also increasing our temperatures. As we head through the evening, fire pit forecast, mild and muggy temperatures, slow to cool down tonight. In fact, we're only going to be dropping into the mid 70s. As we get after midnight, it is going to be possible to see some patchy, dense fog that can stick around for your Friday morning commute. But then as we head through the rest of the weekend, really is going to be feeling summery. By Saturday and Sunday, upper 80s to the lower 90s. This is going to start to feel a lot like summertime, but you'll notice a 20% chance of storms on Friday. That's primarily going to be well to the north and west of Houston. But Lisa, Joel, I've got much more on that timeline coming up.
All right, Caroline, we'll look forward to that.
Even consider abnormally dry just north of the Houston metro. That is the first time we've seen any areas like this in about 6 months. Here's the thing, though. Areas out to the west, you saw a lot of rainfall on Tuesday and Wednesday. In fact, over the last 3 days, Brenham, you saw 2.5 inches of rain down through Columbus and El Campo. A few pockets actually picked up to 4 inches of rain. All of this beneficial rainfall, that's going to come out next Thursday for next week's drought monitor, which means we've got more beneficial changes coming. Okay, let's talk about right now, because a live look in Galveston, you can see we've got some puffy clouds out there, a little bit of a breeze on our palm trees. Temperatures certainly on the warm side, just shy of 80 degrees in Galveston, 83 in Sugar Land, 82 up in Huntsville. We've got winds coming in from the coast, keeping us mild and muggy. Your grilling forecast on this baby Friday, dropping to 74 by 9 o'clock. Certainly going to be sticky out there, and those bugs certainly out and about right now. As we go through the overnight hours, that could be impacting your morning commute. Most of us, though, it's just a dry start to our Friday. You can see Friday, because most of us, we're going to stay totally dry. It's primarily for areas north and west of Houston. Kicking off our Friday morning, patchy fog not out of the question, but then we'll start to watch a disturbance out to the west. This will bring storm chances from Washington County through the Woodlands and really to the north. You can see from 5 p.m. through 8 p.m. scattered thunderstorms possible. Only about a 20% chance, but if you do see one, it could bring the risk of some large hail. Our extended forecast is going to show a pool splash pad kind of weather here in Houston. It's going to be feeling a lot like summer. A live look outside from our GenPro.com camera. You can see we've got cloud cover overhead and some sunshine peeking through. It is warm and breezy out there right now, sitting at 85 in Conroe, 83 for our friends out in Fort Bend County. Winds steady coming in from the coast, about about 15 to 20 miles per hour tonight. Not a bad night for the car wash. That's because most of us staying totally dry through the weekend. You can see dropping into the mid 70s. Speaking of the weekend, we've got the MS 150 race, and for day one, you're going to be dealing with the crosswinds, winds coming from the south around 5 miles per hour. Otherwise, highs in the mid 80s, hot and humid. But Sunday, it's going to be a touch hotter, making it into the lower and mid 90s. But here's the benefit for day two of the MS 150. You're going to have winds gusting from the south up to 20 miles per hour. That's a tailwind that's going to push you along all the way to College Station. Hopefully a little bit of free speed, Lisa and Joel, as the MS 150 closes.
All right, Caroline, thank you.
Really struggling to cool down after midnight. Heads up, we are going to start to see the possibility of some patchy, dense fog. Otherwise, temperatures starting off our weekend in the lower 70s. Now, as we go through the day on Friday, temperature is going to be climbing into the mid 80s, and that's just the start of the climb. 88 for Saturday, 90 degrees for Sunday, and we're tracking a 20% chance of a scattered shower or thunderstorm for our Friday afternoon. Now, I do want to stress most of us totally dry for our Friday. In fact, as we head into the day on Friday, not expecting any problems for that morning commute outside of the possibility of some patchy, dense fog. Once we get into Friday afternoon, we are going to start to see some thunderstorms possible well to the west of Houston. Those are going to be pushing in for our far western and northern counties. That means areas like Washington County up through College Station, Huntsville, Madisonville, even Conroe and Livingston. You've got a 20% chance of storms really from 5 p.m. through 8 p.m. on Friday as those storms quickly push their way through. Otherwise, it is all about the heat. Temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s as we head into next week. And yes, this will be our first 90-degree day of the entire year. On average, we expect to see that coming in early May. But if you look just in the last 30 years, we've actually been seeing it earlier and earlier. In fact, now it's likely to come closer to the end of April. So let me show you our extended forecast. You're going to see we've got that rain chance on Friday. Otherwise, temperatures starting to warm up, afternoon highs every single day, upper 80s to the lower 90s.